Culty patterns in society have been a constant thread throughout human history. These patterns often reveal themselves through behaviors, ideologies, and structures that coalesce around charismatic figures, unified worldviews, or distinct value systems. While many associate the word cult with fringe religious groups or extremist movements, culty patterns are far more pervasive than we might realize. They surface in politics, consumerism, corporate culture, social media communities, and even within ideologies that claim to promote freedom and individuality. Understanding these patterns allows us to observe how societies are shaped by belief systems, collective identities, and the psychological mechanisms that draw individuals toward group conformity. The social and psychological foundations of cult-like behavior. At the core of culty patterns lies a fundamental human need, the desire for belonging and certainty. From our earliest ancestors who banded together for survival, the human brain has been wired to find comfort in group dynamics. A sense of shared purpose or belief can create feelings of safety and identity, particularly in a world that often feels chaotic or uncertain. Social psychologist Henry Teichfeld's social identity theory offers insight into how individuals derive part of their identity from the groups to which they belong. People are naturally inclined to categorize themselves and others into groups: an in-group, us, and an out-group, them. This classification can lead to heightened loyalty within the group and increased hostility toward those perceived as outsiders. Cult-like patterns capitalize on this very mechanism, often amplifying the us versus them mentality, which fosters emotional cohesion and reinforces a sense of collective superiority. In addition to the need for belonging, another psychological pillar of culty patterns is the allure of certainty. Ambiguity is deeply uncomfortable for many people, and clear, unambiguous answers, whether about life's purpose, morality, or political solutions, are seductive. Cults, or groups with cult-like tendencies, frequently promise absolute truths or simple solutions to complex problems, offering followers the reassurance of knowing exactly what is right and wrong. This reduces cognitive dissonance, the mental discomfort experienced when holding conflicting ideas or when confronted with uncertainty. Charismatic leadership and the centralization of authority. One of the most defining features of a culty pattern in any context is the presence of a central, often charismatic authority figure. This leader is typically portrayed as having unique insight, wisdom, or power that elevates them above ordinary people. In extreme cases, they may be seen as infallible, and their decisions or beliefs are rarely questioned by their followers. Throughout history, such leaders have risen to prominence in various forms: religious prophets, political demagogues, self-help gurus, or corporate titans. Whether it's Jim Jones leading the People's Temple, or a celebrity entrepreneur rallying followers with a revolutionary vision for society, these leaders thrive on admiration and exert significant influence over their group's ideology and direction. The group often revolves around their personal mythology, and dissent is minimized or eradicated through social pressure or more overt forms of control. This leadership dynamic mirrors what social psychologist Stanley Milgram demonstrated in his famous obedience experiments. People tend to defer to authority figures, especially when those figures appear confident, knowledgeable, and morally justified in their actions. In culty patterns, this deference can quickly become dangerous when the leader's vision becomes a moral imperative that supersedes individual critical thinking. Information control and isolation. A hallmark of culty dynamics, whether within an insular religious sect or a political movement, is the control of information. When information is tightly regulated, followers are more easily kept within the ideological boundaries of the group. Outside perspectives are often deemed dangerous, misinformed, or intentionally malicious. This creates an echo chamber effect, where followers only hear information that reinforces their pre-existing beliefs. In extreme cases, cults physically isolate members from the outside world, but in more subtle cult-like patterns, isolation can occur psychologically. For instance, social media algorithms that prioritize content tailored to individual preferences can lead to filter bubbles, which reinforce existing beliefs and create the illusion that dissenting views are rare, incorrect, or even morally repugnant. The rise of partisan media outlets, ideological news networks, and insular online communities has exacerbated this phenomenon, making it easier than ever for people to exist in information silos where their beliefs are constantly validated. Moreover, fear of excommunication or social ostracism can make individuals hesitant to question the group's norms or challenge its leaders. In culty environments, dissenters are often demonized or shamed, either through direct punishment or through more subtle forms of social exclusion. This keeps members in line and discourages free thought, as the price of leaving the group becomes too high, whether emotionally, socially, or materially. The temptation of utopian thinking. Another critical element of culty patterns is the promise of utopia. Whether religious or secular, cult-like groups often propose a vision of a perfect society or a perfect future that can only be achieved through strict adherence to their beliefs. This utopian vision provides a compelling narrative that encourages followers to endure hardships, make sacrifices, or engage in morally questionable actions in the name of a greater good. In political movements, for instance, leaders might promise a utopia of social justice, economic equality, or national greatness. Followers may believe that radical measures, even violent ones, are justified to achieve these ends. Similarly, in the corporate world, companies may promote the idea that adopting a certain business philosophy or leadership style will lead to unparalleled success and personal fulfillment. The underlying message is that the group possesses the exclusive key to happiness, salvation, or societal improvement. However, utopian thinking is inherently dangerous because it implies that a perfect society is not only possible, but achievable, often at great cost. The failure to achieve utopia is rarely seen as a flaw in the ideology, but rather as the result of external enemies, internal sabotage, or insufficient loyalty to the cause. This can lead to cycles of increasing radicalization, where the group doubles down on its beliefs despite mounting evidence that their approach is flawed. Culty patterns beyond the fringe. While it's easy to recognize culty patterns in extreme cases, such as religious cults or authoritarian regimes, these patterns exist in subtler forms across mainstream society. Consider the rise of celebrity culture, where public figures are idolized and their opinions, regardless of expertise, are treated as gospel. Followers emulate their lifestyles, hang on their every word, and defend them from criticism as if they were infallible. In the corporate world, companies often build internal cultures that resemble cult-like environments. Employees are encouraged to adopt the company's values as a form of personal identity, and dissenters who challenge the company's mission or leadership are marginalized. In some cases, corporate cultures even promise personal enlightenment or fulfillment through unwavering loyalty to the brand. Similarly, political movements, particularly those on the far right or far left, frequently exhibit culty tendencies. Leaders become symbols of ideological purity, and members are expected to follow the party line without question. Deviating from the movement's core beliefs is seen as betrayal, and ideological purity tests weed out those who are not sufficiently loyal to the cause. Conclusion: navigating culty patterns in an interconnected world. Culty patterns are an enduring feature of human societies because they fulfill deep psychological needs for belonging, certainty, and purpose. These patterns, however, can be both constructive and destructive, depending on how they manifest. On one hand, they can create strong social bonds, foster a sense of community, and provide meaning. On the other hand, they can stifle individuality, promote groupthink, and lead to authoritarianism. As we navigate an increasingly interconnected world where information flows more freely but is also more easily manipulated, recognizing culty patterns in both fringe and mainstream groups becomes crucial. By fostering critical thinking, encouraging open dialogue, and promoting tolerance for diverse perspectives, societies can mitigate the dangers of culty dynamics and instead build communities that thrive on mutual respect, cooperation, and shared values without devolving into blind conformity. Expand your knowledge and wisdom through short film documentaries like this one you just watched. Subscribe to The Philosopher's Canvas on YouTube and support us with a like and a comment. Until next time.